That is exactly what it is. If you are impeached until that impeachment is lifted.
And if you take the matter to court, if you're still impeached.
Of course, until the court lifts the impeachment.
Yeah, so now.
And so is the sentence. If you have been sentenced, you are actually sentenced until the sentence is set aside.
Siasa za Kenya ni siasa ambazo hukuwa na mambo mingi. Nikikumbusha kidogo kuna viongozi wawili ambao walijipata wamo katika ICC.
An innocent person like me to be dragged all the way here really is a matter that baffles me.
Ambayo walikuwa wana face international criminal charges. Na baada ya hilo, mtazamaji, jinsi Kenya ilivyo, bado mmoja akawa rais na mwingine akawa naibu wa rais. Lakini ninapozungumza siku ya leo, mtazamaji, kuna kiongozi mmoja ambaye amefungwa na kupigwa nje ya siasa kabisa. Si kwa sababu ya kuwa na kesi katika mahakama kuu, si kwa sababu ya kufikishwa katika ICC, but kwa sababu aliweza kuwa impeached kutoka serikalini. Ukiketi nami kwa dakika kama 8 zijazo utafahamu zaidi kuhusiana na hili. Na hapa ndipo Sam TV tunakuambia ukweli na kukufahamisha na kukuelimisha jinsi ambavyo siasa za Kenya huweza kupangwa hadi zikapangika, na jinsi ambavyo maisha ya mwanasiasa yanaweza yakageuka na akarudi kuwa mwanakijiji wa kawaida. Nitakalo lizungumzia ni kuhusiana the impeachment, ambayo ni kesi ambayo ilikuwa inamhusisha naibu wa rais ambaye ni Rigathi Gashagua. Gashagua waliweza kuchaguliwa na Rais William Ruto mnamo mwaka 2022 katika uchaguzi uliofanywa, na wakaweza kuwashinda mwenda zake Raila Amolo Odinga, na Rigathi Gachagua akabaki kuwa ndiye naibu wa rais, na Ruto akawa mshindi wa uchaguzi chini ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza na chama cha UDA. Swali ambalo ningependa tujiulize na uweze kujibu kwenye comment section ni, sheria za Kenya hutumika kihalali ama zinatumika kuumiza watu fulani? Je, unafahamu aje jinsi ambavyo sheria za Kenya hutumika kisiasa? Kuna wale ambao hupokea sheria za kuwaumiza, na kuna wengine ambao sheria hutumika kuweza kuwachunga. Na hilo ndilo swali nataka tuweze kujibishana siku ya leo. Usiende mbali, zidi kuketi nami na uweze kusubscribe ili upokee mengi zaidi kutoka kwetu. So kutokana na maana ya jina ambalo ningependa uweze kulifahamu, it's an English word that I want us to understand the meaning. What is the meaning of impeachment? So impeachment is not just a political attack. Impeachment is a constitutional process. And I want us to look keenly, because we have seen governors being impeached by MCs, whereby MCs gather different opinions because they have disagreed with their governor, or maybe a governor has been corrupt, a governor is not delivering, and the MCs decide they vote in to impeach him from office because they believe the governor has failed entirely on what he is supposed to do. So we have seen different governors in Kenya being impeached. And today, I'm not here to talk about the impeachment of governors. I'm here to talk about the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. So Gachagua was impeached whereby There were claims that were presented before the National Assembly. The MPs investigated, they discussed the matter, and they voted against the impeachment or towards the impeachment. So after they finished voting for impeachment, Gashagua was sent to the Senate. The Senate is where there was a trial that was conducted whereby various lawyers stood and defended and questioned about the impeachment process. So evidence was gathered and everybody listened to it, including the senators, including the whole public, and it is something that was being aired whereby the whole country could see what was happening. So evidence was presented. Gashagua, through the lawyers, defended himself, but a final verdict was reached. And in this case, Gashagua was found guilty and he was removed from the office. So more importantly, what they were looking at is the integrity which is being questioned under the chapter 6 of the Constitution. When we look at the Constitution of Kenya, it entirely emphasizes on leadership and integrity. So the Constitution of Kenya doesn't look at leadership as being voted in. It also looked at integrity. Are you a leader who is able to have ethical standards and the legal standards of managing the public and being a leader to the people? That is the question. So we need to understand that impeachment is not just something that is you being removed from office because you talked about, maybe let's say you abused someone, maybe you abused an office, but it can also destroy your political future. This is what has happened to Gachagua. The political life of Rigathi Gachagua has been destroyed. He can't run for any impeachment because the Constitution clearly says a public officer who has been removed from gross misconduct or abuse of office may be disqualified from withholding public office. And this is what that's where now the Chief Justice Martha Koome comes in. She gave us a speech whereby she talked about an impeachment whereby a leader cannot run for any political seat until the impeachment is nullified. And the process of nullifying an impeachment, we clearly understand it. There must be the court processes and procedures to change or to overrule an impeachment process. So, however much someone can be impeached, there is also another part whereby he has the right to defend himself before the courts of law. So that's why still Rigathi Gachagua's fate has not been decided, because there is the court process. If we go through the court process and wins the hearts of the court, the impeachment process will be overturned. But if not, Rigathi Gachagua stands and will not run for any political seat in the Kenyan boundaries. So in 2013, William Samoei Ruto and President Uhuru Kenyatta were facing charges at the International Criminal Court over the 2007-2008 post-election filings, whereby this was one of the darkest moments in the history of Kenya, whereby a lot of people were killed and they were taken in to be questioned because of this, and the world was watching. So we looked at it and they saw that their political career died, but they won the case. They defended themselves and won the case. That's why they came back and they could run for an office. So if Rigathi Gachagua also convinces the courts, the impeachment can be overruled and they can run for a political seat in Kenya. So a question that remains for us to ask ourselves: should impeachment end a political career forever? Or should it be left to people to decide? Because sometimes when I look at Rigathi Gachagua'S case, it was a political war. And that is what sent him home. Because we have seen leaders who have done worse than what Rigathi Gachagua was accused of.